Ladies and gentlemen, this interview is brought to you by EmployeeEscapePlan.com. And if you're having challenges with your marketing, if you're having trouble getting your message out to people, having people discover what your offer is, and really packaging yourself up in a way that they get it, people get it in one sentence, one paragraph, in 30 seconds or less, they get what you do. Joe Nicasio has been a huge benefit and help for me to be clear on that with Burn It Up Coaching, helping us clarify who it is that we serve, these small business owners, these solopreneurs who are struggling, who are staying stuck in their own mind. And I know that I've really trusted Joe and relied on him to help me get to where I am today. So I highly recommend you check out EmployeeEscapePlan.com. Whether you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, or you're just looking to take that leap, I recommend Joe Nicasio, EmployeeEscapePlan.com. Now, Gena Pino is a business consultant, author, and certified hypnotist who has supported individuals in doing their best thinking for over 20 years. As an online success coach and mentor, she teaches entrepreneurs and small business owners how to release their blocks to success while creating individualized strategies to help them attract more leads, money, and opportunity for their businesses. Following a step-by-step process which creates a clear and powerful intention and inspired action, struggling entrepreneurs find hope and learn how to create a more profitable business through creative visualization, self-hypnosis, and attraction marketing strategies. Gena, you ready to rock this? She is. Oh my gosh, awesome. You are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Yes. We're going to have a lot of fun. Super grateful to have you on. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to really share some awesomeness with us and our audience.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you.
So happy to be here.
Yes, This is going to be an epic hour. I can already feel it. Our conversation before was just magical and just deep and high. This is just awesome. So great. So one thing that we always start these interviews off is with the theme. And today's theme, I know we were talking about it before. We actually went with engineered consistency because I think that's something that entrepreneurs are really challenged with. You know, just people, high performers, leaders in general. Sometimes they feel on fire. Sometimes they feel like, not so much. So I'm curious, how has engineered consistency shown up for you? How have you created consistency? How have you designed that? Or how have you found that you become most consistent in your life?
Well, you know what? I really had to come to a place where I connected with myself and really focused on my own personal guidance. That really led me to inspired action. And once I got into the flow of inspired action, it was so easy to consistent and be consistent because my motivation was really coming from myself. It wasn't outer directed, it was inner directed. And that really kind of put me more, I guess, in the flow of things, you know, and I got a lot of personal feedback and results from that because I found that when my actions weren't inspired, I really didn't have the results I wanted. And then, you know, you lose motivation. You can't stay consistent because you're not really getting that reinforcement that you need. So, so it's with inspired action, and that's part of my process too. So I'm excited to talk about that too today.
Awesome. Well, way to start off. I love inspired action, and I know we're going to be diving into that, what that is, how to create it more, how to get tapped into that. And Gena, you know, thank you again for coming on today. And why don't you share a little bit more about what it is that you do today now? I read the intro, but share in your own words what you do for these entrepreneurs.
Okay. Well, right now I'm working with entrepreneurs that are really struggling. You know, I have been an entrepreneur for about 5 years, so I guess I'm new to entrepreneurship. I started my career actually as an educator. I was in special education, so I used to have IEPs, and now I still have IEPs. So instead of individual education plans, I have individualized entrepreneurial plans.
Nice.
So it's still like it totally works. But I really struggled when I started. I didn't have any business background, so I became a hypnotist. I wanted to help women with birthing and fertility, and I just kind of went in with my service and really didn't know what to do. I lost a lot of money. I was just my wheels. I was kind of working from fear because I didn't want to fail. I ended up in the hospital with a heart condition, and I guess I could talk about that in a little bit. And my business really failed because I wasn't in my business. I had a super poor business model. I didn't know what to do. So after my recovery period, I started looking online for business. So then I shifted my small business offline, online, and learned things. I did bring my business back, which was great, but I still didn't really have those pieces in play to know what to do with the new pieces that I acquired. Right. So that was challenging for me, and I continued to keep going. I was like plugging, but I was spinning my wheels. And I just finished a free training that I hope to have out by the end of February. But I have this picture of this like race car, and the wheels are like spinning, and it's like all this smoke, and that's what was happening. I was creating a lot of smoke and like a lot of activity, but like I was going nowhere. So I finally like learned why that was happening and made those changes. So I really want to then be that guide, that support, new entrepreneurs especially, or those that really need a reset, to get started with connecting back to themselves, which means to really establish a strong brand, a brand message, and then create those inspired actions to get to their specific goals that are unique to them and their businesses.
Wow. So beautiful. I love it. And what I really hear is tapping into the essence of who we are. And a lot of people I've seen, I'm sure you have as well, is they're so driven by the external reality. They're so driven by the expectations of society of, oh, I should be here by now. There's lots of shame and guilt and all kinds of stuff. And we get to help these people now, especially who are listening, to discover that you don't have to be stuck with that. You don't have to keep holding that weight and bearing that weight and suffering and almost like self-inflicting that pain. Even if you don't know that you're doing it, now we have an option to get through that. And Gena, I know you've gone through some challenges to get to where you are today. So I'm sure our audience wants to know a little bit more about your journey and kind of what got you to here and the challenges that you had to overcome and get through.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'd love to share that actually. Because I love my story, and I think we should all love our stories because they're unique to each one of us, and it's the reason why we're in our businesses. Like, there's nothing that's not connected to what you do. Like, your life is not separate from your business. Everything is integrated. So your journey absolutely is part of that, and I celebrate mine all the time. Yes. But like I said, I started getting in to entrepreneurship, being a hypnosis practitioner. I birthed my son. Actually, I went into hypnosis naturally. So I just knew it, Then I really believe that we do have that higher self that is constantly guiding us, and we really know what we need to do, in the middle. So that really gave me the inspired action to move forward, learn hypnosis, and start practice. But I didn't have, like I said, I did not have that understanding of business model or what to do. So I drove myself in now. I'm trying to be, I'm a single mom as well. So I run my household I do everything by myself. So I was wearing all the hats. I ended up with a heart attack, not only one, but 5, and I had a cardiac arrest. So I drove myself in an ambulance to the hospital and then, had a cardiac arrest and, went into this near-death experience where I didn't really leave my body. I just expanded into all of who I was. So most people with death experience, they talk about themselves like floating above their body or like moving towards the light. I don't know if you've heard of those stories, Chris, but I just really went into all of my light, and I just went in this yellow golden light, which was really so beautiful and peaceful. And I saw all of these shapes floating, in front of me, and I recognize them as experiences, opportunities, choices, people. Some I had connections with, and some I didn't. I think they were like choices and experiences and relationships that I really didn't choose. right, in my experience, but they were still there, So there was one that looked like a dollar sign, and I was really drawn to it, and I just grabbed it. And once I did that, I came back to earth, so to speak, and I was ready to go, but not really.
Yeah, right.
I was ready to go. Yeah. So 6 months later, I was ready to go because I had a lot of memory loss, and a lot of, struggle in that regard, really getting my life back. I was really like a mess. Like I needed the Wizard of Oz. I needed a new brain. I needed a new heart.
Real quick, what did you tell yourself? What did you live by to get through that period of time?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was really that my why, like I had to take care of myself. At that time, this is where I was. I had to take care of my children. And I wanted to make choices without limitation. And that was my big thing, to make choices without limitation. Because when you're in the hospital, you're extremely limited, and when you don't have a lot of money either, you're extremely limited. So I wanted to get to a place where I could make choices for myself and my family without limitation. And I knew that I could do that. And I just focused, because I'm a big creative visualization person. And I had to keep that image of us being okay, and really, like at the time, I wasn't really ready to see us okay and enjoying it, right? Because I had to connect with myself now. And I wouldn't have believed myself. I had this picture of us at Disneyland and like doing all this stuff. It wasn't really, so I needed to choose something, visualize something that I could believe, right? And with that, I really then created myself to be a vibrational match, and I'll talk a little bit about that like a little later on. To that, so then the reality that I actually created became the reality. It was my vision. I put it out there in the future for myself, but then I was able to walk into it coming from my place of the now, and that brought me to really actually not even where I am now, because I'm beyond that now. Now my life has grown in an incredible way because I keep on doing that. I live that every day, visualizing my next step every day. I call it mental rehearsal. I'll mentally rehearse what it looks like, feels like, how it would be to engage in that experience in the future. And then really magically, you can walk into it. So that's pretty cool. But so after my recovery of my heart attack, I had 6 months, really had to rebuild my brain. And I opted into one of those online businesses, and so new, because before that I was part of the woo-woo crowd. I was like a holistic health practitioner, angels, crystals, like all that fun stuff, and this seemed so different for me, but it was such a good fit, and everything was going really well. But then I, just like you were talking about at the beginning, once I got into, my proven system of success, I was absolutely, outer directed. So my upline was saying something, the mentors, the coaches, everybody was saying, and then I had expectations because, you should be making this many figures at this time. And I had solo ads and Facebook ads and lions and tigers and bears on mine, like all this stuff. And I was just like, oh no, I was so ready to throw the towel in. And I was like, okay, what would you tell your clients, when I had clients that, could not have children, and, I wanted to birth something in my life, so like, what could I tell them? And it was really like, connect to yourself in the moment and visualize, right? So I brought myself back to that. And then I realized that, oh my gosh, I'm not seeing myself in this picture. Like I totally ejected myself out. Wow. So out of directed. And then forget about the why, because my why just became, getting results or making it work. And that's not the why. It's a very shattered part of, the why. So bringing the why back in, bringing myself back in. And all of a sudden, I attracted some new information for myself, experiences with attraction marketing that made all the difference. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is this is it. This is about me. Then I rebranded, so I created a brand. And then I realized, my story was really an important part of that brand. And then I really listened to what my story shared to myself as I wrote it out. And then I had a brand message, and from there now I've built an audience that I'm engaging and serving now, which is huge. And this happened really within 7 months.
Wow.
That's fast, I think.
That is fast. What unlocked, Gena? Give us the secret.
Yeah, well, it's really connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
As soon as you bring it to you, everything makes sense, because it's our life. Yeah. And we choose. And you have to take responsibility for that. So once you decide that, right, you take ownership and you are empowered, And then really at that point when I connected with myself, I realized that I was really a magnet for all of my experience, that I was really attracting everything based on where I was and what I was believing, feeling, and thinking. So then at that point, that created my brand,
Yeah.
So I have magnetic entrepreneurs and, a tribe of people that want to really be that magnet for success and work on those, I guess we would say, those unseen parts of ourselves that affect the seen parts of our experience. So
I love it. So tell us more. Let's start diving into the how-to or the concept or the methodology, the philosophy around magnetizing ourselves to this reality that we deserve. That's right there at the tips of our fingers. If we step up to the plate, however that looks like, that you've done and demonstrated and helped your clients do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yes. It's really about ownership first and owning that you are that magnet. Once you are aware of that, that changes everything, because then you have to take a responsibility for yourself in the moment. And that you are attracting everything in your life right now, right? And that's scary. Because nobody wants to be wrong. No one wants to be responsible. No one wants to say, wow, that's because of me,
Right. It's so easy to blame, to point fingers, to put it outside.
Well, yeah, right. And you want to toss the ball out. You want to be outer directed. It's safer when it's not in you, right? But you have to get there. You cannot create change in your life if you don't bring yourself back to you, and then decide, really make the choice that you want to change your magnet. See, I have
change your magnet. I love it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what you have to be somebody new. You have to change your magnet. So if I wanted to be a magnet for an experience where I could make choices without limitation, and I felt unlimited, and I felt abundant and prosperous, and I was someone who gets results and really remains consistent with my actions, right? I had to be that person. I had to make shifts within my magnet. So how do you do that, right? How do you shift your magnet? How do you become someone new?
Tell us, Gena. Tell us.
Yeah. That's where we go, right? I think I set that up pretty good. Yeah. So you really start with choosing the end. So when I, was in my, full light, and I was given that opportunity to choose, I learned that we create by choosing the ending. Right. And C.S. Lewis says that too. You can't change your beginning, but you can change your ending. I love C.S. Lewis. That's the line, which in the wardrobe. So you choose what you want at the end. Once you do that and you consciously make that choice, everything that needs to be on the path to get there will show up. Okay. So once you acknowledge where you are in the moment, right, and then choose where you want to go, a path is created. Now that's where the intention comes up. So my first step actually in my process is that clear vision, that clear vision of what you want, that vision that you want at the end, the vision of you in the future, and acknowledging the vision that you have of yourself in the present. Okay. Now what connects the two? right? The now to the future, right? So what is that? Do you know, Chris?
What connects the now to the future is our imagination.
Well, yeah, that's part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it. That actually, that's the masculine, right? Creating the images in our, that's the masculine, right? So now now we need the little feminine, right?
Okay.
And so that's the heart-based intention, right?
Okay.
So your heart-based intention, your intention to move forward to that end result is the avenue that takes you there, because you need like feminine and masculine to create new life.
Awesome. So the imagination is it's masculine because it is like creating, it's building, it's manufacturing, it's like putting something in existence that wasn't there before.
Yeah, it's definitely a doing.
Yeah. Versus
just doing.
Yeah. Wow.
And like the intention is that is really that receiving. It's that energy that brings it all together and then allows you to channel, right? What you're inspired to, what you're intending and your vision, and it brings it into the third dimension for you.
Yeah. So how do we know? I'm curious. How do we know when we're doing too much imagination, not enough inspired action, inspired intention, and then how do we know when we're doing too much inspired intention and not enough imagination and like active creation?
Well, because you're not getting a result.
Okay. True.
I mean, it really is that simple. I think we tried it. Can you hold on 1 second? My son just got home.
Sure,
I just want to
Do you think?
Just go sit inside, okay? I'll be there in a second. Okay. He's such a good kid. Yeah, Nanny and Poppy were supposed to pick the kids up, and that didn't work out today. So we're just making it work. It's how
flowing. Love it.
It is what it is, right? Yeah, But you can get in a space where you're just like imagining and creating, and I think we do that because we're afraid it's safe. You know, if you are just spending too much time like thinking about the possibilities, then you're not moving towards it. You don't really have an intention then. You see, it is that in that heart-based intention that takes you from the imagination into the action. It really is the bridge that brings it forward, if that makes sense, because you have emotion and feeling, right, to bring it forward. You're going to walk into it. You're going to start those actions. And then once you do that, almost like the universe gets a signal to say, okay, send this one, action steps. Okay, the path is created. Boop, 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 right? Like your yellow brick road. Right. So I'm using a lot of Wizard of Oz images. Weird. I don't know why I'm doing that. Do you like the Wizard of Oz?
I do. It's great.
Oh, that's probably why. I don't know, because I'm just saying a lot. Right? But anyway, so you get like the path, ahead of you, and then you can follow it and act on it. Now, the interesting thing about that is this is where growth comes in, because when you are on that path, anything that doesn't belong on that path will come up to go. So people may feel like it's hard, right? Or, oh no, and it's just, those are the things that you will confront, you know what I'm saying? Because that's growth. And, I want to be on this path. And that was part of that old magnet that can't be in this new magnet. So I have to let it go or transform it in a new way to make it work on this path. And we all do that. It's called life.
I love this. This is good. This is really, really good. How does someone know if they're supposed to let something go from their past, their old magnet self, versus like being afraid and not wanting to take the leap of faith that has been placed in front of them? They might be, how do you know if it's something that you should hold on to and stick with, but you're just afraid, so you're like, I don't know if I should do that, or if it's something that's part of your past and you really want to be this new person, but this stuff is hanging on and you're afraid of letting it go because that's what you've been comfortable with.
Yeah. If you're afraid of letting it go, it will show up again to let go. Right? It will kind of be like, so this is what happens when you hear people sometimes say, you'll get the pebble drop on your head, you'll get the pebble drop on your head, you'll get the pebble, then all of a sudden the brick falls.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is, So it's like you really are, intending, if your heart-based intention is for this path and you want this, there's going to be things that will come up that you really don't want to go because like you love them or you're attached to them or for whatever reason, even things that are not so good for you, you know what I'm saying, will come up. But you will have more just life experience that shows up that you will know it's time for it to go. It is what growing is, So you have to be open to that. If you want to, be your best self, right? Your best possible self. You have to, and that's what courage is all about. We're always going to be afraid. I don't think fear is a bad thing. I think fear is a very interesting part of our life that gives us information and it lets us go more deeply. We have to go into our darkness to see the light, So that's what, this is all about. But the journey is really beautiful if you stick with it,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Awesome. So I do want to get into more like the darkness and why we're so afraid and how to deal with that in a little bit. I just wanted to continue on the process. So we started with the vision. We also have the heart-based intention. What else is required?
Okay. So the next step really is those inspired actions, right? So you have this heart-based intention, and just the important part, just to talk about that a little bit again, is that it's important when you have a vision of what you want to bring emotion to it, elevated emotion, because it really sparks it. Into like I said, like the action steps, but it just brings it through into manifestation. And it really is that simple. Now, I'm just talking about it really conceptually, and it's really funny. I'm going to mention a book that I haven't read. It's by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Can I show the book?
Yes, please.
Okay, so here it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay. So Becoming Supernatural. Now it's really funny because I was talking to a really good friend of mine about just, life and things. And, he's also an entrepreneur, e-commerce. And he's like, wow, everything you're saying is what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about in his books. I'm like, oh, really? And I kind of dabbled in some of his YouTube videos and stuff. Joe Dispenza a long time ago. And it's funny because this is all the scientific-based evidence for what I'm talking about right now. So if you want the science behind it, you could read this book, and it really is the same.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about the same things. It's just sometimes you need to connect with someone to let it sink in.
Yep. But someone just showed me that book as well. So it's second, twice I've seen it. If it comes up a third time.
I know it should be really good. I hope to read it. I read just the first chapter, but life in the way. Not, life I guess, happens. On my path now. Yeah. But so you really need, and that's what I think he says too in his book, like that elevated emotion is so important. And that gives you the momentum to really take on those inspired action steps. So the next step really is inspired action, and it's action that you are internally motivated to follow through on. And these are, action steps that you will be inspired and guided with, because they just show up. I can't explain it, but they just show up. Like I met this entrepreneur, Candace Boo Walton. She is fantastic. She does like a Facebook Live every day, and she was the one that got me into attraction marketing. I was really ready to throw the towel in, but I had to get to that place, right? Because I'm changing my magnet. And when I was ready, I let some other pieces go, and then Candace shows up, right? And then I started learning about more like attraction marketing and moving forward in that. And then I was ready then to move on to like another step, level up my business, and then my 7-figure mentorship. So I was able to take action on that. In fact, I was getting ready to do a different mentorship, and for whatever they on, putting my, I don't know, my form or something in a pile or something. I kept on getting passed over. So I'm waiting all these months. I'm like, where's my mentor, people? Right. And it ended up that I couldn't do that mentorship because the time had run out, right? And then all of a sudden, it was because this mentor was supposed to show up, and this was the one. And I had visualized at the beginning working with him. And I thought that it was a possibility at all because he was so overbooked and he wasn't taking any more mentees. And then, well, he's my mentor now.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So those action steps, and they're just action steps, inner directed, personally guided. And sometimes they even seem magical, right? Because they show up in ways that seem so like nature.
So I'm gonna pause real quick. I love this conversation, and Gena, for people out there who are just like in like suffering, in stress, overwhelmed, just stuck, what like, because it sounds like you've just been in inspired action all the time.
I am actually.
So like, how did you ever have to move through any of those kinds of emotions of like just being exhausted, burnt out, like I can't go anymore, doubtful, fearful? How did you do that?
Yeah. That's interesting that you say that, because actually I am in a place now where I live life this way. So, I have to kind of pull back and try to remember how it was when I did live that way.
Wow. Yeah.
But what I can, speak to is that when you do get in those moments when you are just so exhausted, like you kind of like hit the bottom, right? I think that's where like what you're getting at is like when people get to a place where they've like hit rock bottom and they don't know what to do and they're just like, that's the time to really let go of your mind, so to speak. So you kind of have to say, I'm giving myself permission to get out of my mind and be totally out of my mind. And then just get to a place where you have time to be with you. You need to disconnect, right, from like your mind and all the outside and connect yourself. Go out in nature, take a walk in bare feet on the grass, go hug a tree and connect to life. Because really what happens, like when you get to that place where you're just so outer directed and so like overwhelmed and you need to connect to life, connect to your life. And then at that time, then you could breathe, and I'm just kind of getting a little guidance just to talk about breath, because breath is really important. And I know there's been times where I've had a hard time like catching my breath. I think when we do, we don't inhale. And then when you don't inhale, you can't receive.
Wow.
And we need to have that kind of momentum, that give and take, just like a heart pumps right in our lungs and we take air in and out. Life works in that same flow. Like that's what flow is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would suggest is to, connect with life, connect with your own breath, and then open yourself up to a new experience, reset. And the way you reset would be to set your vision, right? Really get into your heart. What's your intention for what you want in life? And then open yourself up to your own guidance, or situations that show up on your path that inspire you to take action.
I love it. I love it. This is gold. Yeah, it's simple. And I think for me, because I'm a very driven guy and I'm committed to really having the balance of masculine and feminine and diving into the spirituality, diving into the present even more. I love the breath. That was like super, just constant reminder for me is super important. So thank you for sharing that. And then also for the people who are listening, our audience, they might also be at a place where they are trying to figure it out. They're trying to tap in. They're trying to listen. They're trying to get connected. And one thing that I posted just yesterday actually is in terms of what those people can understand, the masculine driven people can understand, is what about an exercise? What about a practice? What about a discipline of getting connected, of breathing, of, you know, locking into that vision and getting connected with that. Like, just because it's more feminine in nature and receiving in nature doesn't mean that you can't apply a masculine kind of framework to have that facilitated, to have that benefit. And I'm sure eventually it'll just be pure feminine, pure release, pure surrender, pure just being connected. But that was just something that I thought about. If you're not quite there yet, which I know I still have a lot of room to dive deeper into myself and listen to myself and really flow with that intuition and that inspired heart-based intention and action, then what I can do in the meantime till I'm at that point is dedicate a portion of my day to doing those things, to being around a tree, like you said, a walk, getting in nature, you know, whatever, getting sun, hugging a tree, all that good stuff, and to do that consistently. Because it's one thing to do it like once a week or once a month, and I think I've been pretty good at like sporadic connection. And like the magic, I believe, will happen when I'm so focused on my why and my vision that I'm taking inspired action towards that, and I'm inspired intention with that, and I'm consistently doing it over the long term. I use my resources, the 3D resources, like a calendar or a scheduler or whatever it might be, to follow through on that and produce the results. So I really love that, and that was beautiful.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I wanted to mention as you're talking about this is that I'm thinking that, you know, sometimes we really can overthink so many things. And when we're trying to integrate a new practice, you know, to help us connect with ourselves, once again, it can't be something that we add on top of everything, you know, because that's like outside of ourselves, like once again, and we have to look at what we do every day that we can integrate these practices in naturally. Now, you know, I think when you take a shower, that's a great time for your visualization. You know, like when you're in those mundane activities, you know, like loading and unloading the dishwasher, you know, you can use like every day. Like, don't think that I'm just speaking to those people that may be listening. Well, how can I don't have time to meditate? I don't meditate. You know, I don't. Oh my gosh, I'm coming out. I don't meditate. You know, I'm a spiritual person, I guess, that does not meditate. Oh my gosh, you know, but it's true. You know, I integrate active meditative type experiences, you know, right before I go to sleep, you know, right when I get up, you know, those kind of things that you could really do the same thing with your visualization and your intention. Just integrate it into your day, you know, spending time with your cup of tea or your cup of coffee in the morning, you know, do it right then and there. It doesn't have to be something like, this is my meditation time. I'm going to meditate between 5 a.m. and 5:20 every morning, you know, although that could be nice too.
Yeah. And even like you said, letting go of the other stuff that we feel like we need to do, like really asking ourselves, what is it that we need to do? We really like need to do. And there's some needs that we have for ourselves, you know, like something like to spend that time on ourselves, to give ourselves self-love, whatever that looks like. That's a need, but it looks different ways, and it can show up differently in your day-to-day schedule and stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. So we got the vision, we got the intention, and now we're taking action. What happens next? What are?
Well, when you are taking your action, and then it's important to have time to reflect on it and to look at it. You know. That's the breathing part. That's that taking in. Maybe that's why I had to mention that, right? Just even to remind myself to bring it up. So you have to look at what you're doing and see what's getting results. You know, we do a lot of stuff, but sometimes it's like that 20%, right? That 20% that really produces the results. And like, you know, the other stuff, maybe other people can help you with. You know, so it's like looking at, you know, what are my profitable activities? What are the activities that are really benefiting me and my life? And that strengthens the magnet even more, you know, because you're taking responsibility, you know, for yourself. what you want to do.
I love how you tied back in again that we are magnets, ladies and gentlemen. We are magnets. We're changing out the old magnet that was attracting all that stuff into our life, and now we get to be this new magnet. We're changing into a new magnet. I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's actually alchemy. You know, that's what it is. It's like alchemy. You know, Midas, right, had the gold touch. He turned base metal to gold in those old stories and, you know, wizards and all that kind of, you know, fun fantasy stuff. But it really is real when you think about changing yourself, you know, and I know there's a lot of, you know, people talking about like letting things go. You got to let this go. And we talked a little bit about that too, letting things go. But it really is about, you know, because if you're releasing something, where is it going to go? Everything that's inside of us is outside of us. Like, well, where is it going to go? You know, so it really is that transforming, that transmutation of yourself as the magnet that then as you become new, everything outside of you will become new too. It just has to. It's like a law of nature. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Feeling the quiet.
Awesome. I love it. So, you know what, after we start receiving these results, do you notice that people, are they consistent with it? Are they consistent at tapping into themselves, listening to themselves, being tuned in to that vision? Do they get distracted? Like how can we move forward with the most certainty and clarity and success with all of this?
Yeah, I think it's being committed to the process, because we're always growing and changing. So like once you get to your goal, you know, it really just doesn't stop. And if people too are on that path and they're coming up with, I guess, their own personal resistance because, you know, they're on the path, and to get to that goal, there's aspects, you know, of themselves that have to change, grow, and refit. You know, maybe they don't want to do that. You know, it really is about being committed to the process, committed to personal growth. And that's, you know, in all things. You're going to see results vary, you know, from person to person, but it has to really do about your own personal commitment to yourself and what you want for yourself. And if you have it, you will do it. And it constantly will change because your vision will grow as you grow. See, it's not just going to stay static. Just like I said, you know, my vision for myself was, you know, just to be okay. Not enough just to be okay. Totally not enough. Right. So once I got closer to being okay, then I'm like, ooh, I'm going to be like more than okay. And then I'm going to be like, wow, you know, and then my life is going to be fabulous. And that's where I'm moving into now, this like, you know, fabulous life that I love. And it's not, you know, anything, you know, I'm not like, you know, flying a jet. I'm not in Richard Branson's posse or anything. You know, some mom, and we do some pretty normal things, but you know, it's free, and that's fabulous and awesome for us. So it's going to be, you know, individual for people. And I would just recommend people to put themselves first. You know, you were talking about self-love before, you know, love yourself enough to be committed to moving forward.
Wow. Awesome. So I think you lagged a little bit, but you said love yourself enough to be committed to move. There was like a little, to moving forward, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's important, you know. You want to please everybody else, you know, and do all the right things, like you were saying at the beginning. You want to do all the right things. But really the right thing is connecting with ourself and being like true to ourself. When you do that, you know, you will have a vibration that will put you on a path that is for your true purpose. And what, no matter what that is, and it'll look different for everyone. But you will feel happy. See, that's what happiness is. Yeah. It's about happiness. You know?
Yeah, for some reason, just personally, I've always felt like happiness is like not really that important. It's important to be grateful. It's important to be loving. It's important to be kind, compassionate. It's important to feel abundant. And like joy is good too, and fun is good, and play is good. But like that word happiness, I don't know. Is there something about that word that has never fully resonated with me? And I'm grateful it's coming up now, because I think that there's space to expand in happiness and choosing happiness. Like, no, I'm freaking happy right now. I choose happiness right now. That's like something that has been available to me for a while, and I have just been kind of putting it to the side. So I'm grateful it came up in this conversation.
Oh, I'm so glad. See, it's about integration.
Yes. One step at a time. So how are you most happy? What things do you do that give you the most happiness?
Oh my gosh. I'm glad that you mentioned that. This sounds really crazy, but I love seeing people's energy move forward. I love that. Whether it's my kids, my own life, my clients. It's interesting. I am an intuitive empath, so I can, energy to me is something that I see, and I was working with this gentleman, and he really had no direction. He was in a business, a business opportunity that he had started, a done-for-you system, and he really was kind of stagnant. He didn't know which way to go with it or what he was doing. So we had a really good conversation. Talked a little bit about his why, branding, what he wanted to get into it, initially, and what he wanted to share with others. And it was amazing. Within 30 minutes, I saw his. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling my hands getting a little warm. I'm also a Reiki practitioner. So his energy started to move forward. And that was really beautiful. I felt really blessed and humbled to be in that space, to be able to witness that. And see, that brings me, a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. I'm very comfortable with the word joy and happiness. Yeah. Those emotions and feelings actually, give my magnet fuel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give my this is gold. Gold. And everyone listening, I want you to type in magnet, because Gena's teaching us how to be magnets. This is awesome. Type in magnet right now if you're enjoying this conversation. Gena, you're rocking it. Emotions give my magnet fuel. Love it. And the full embrace, the full acceptance, the full being of those emotions, the full permission for ourselves to be those things. Like, I give myself permission to be happy. I give myself permission to be the most happy I can possibly be. Like, it's one thing for people to say, okay, yeah, I give myself permission to be loving. It's another one to say, okay, go off the chart, like break any kind of limits that you've ever set around this emotion, any kind of paradigm, any kind of thinking that you've thought about how much you can have or deserve, and challenge yourself about how much happiness really is there, and just embrace it and love it, and be in that discovery and curiosity and wonder about how much happy can you feel.
No, that's great. Yeah, because it's all about expanding into all of who you are. And, we put boxes around ourselves. We put ourselves in our own box. Like, I love the people who say, oh, I'm not in the box.
What box?
There's no box. And the truth of it, really, there's like no box. But it is kind of funny. Like, they're like in their own box. But yeah, there is none. And we can expand into the who we are. And there really is no limit to that. So part of what I was gifted with once I, had that near-death experience is I was able to tap into unlimitedness. And I do still have a recollection, feels like, and I know that we really don't have the capacity right now to even understand how unlimited we are. Seriously. And that's really exciting, as we approach thinking differently, breaking, the molds and, shifting into new paradigms, that we're going to be able to dabble in that. That's so exciting. I think that's the work that you're doing, Chris, too, is to getting people to think about that and kind of break down their own walls and move beyond that. So that's super.
Do you challenge yourself to feel more, to expand, and how do you do that? How do you, because for example, I've thought that practice equals, mastery equals expansion equals becoming better. So if I, channel happiness intentionally, and just like, how happy can I get? And just like whatever, 10 minutes and just go run around like a little kid outside, just screaming for joy. Maybe that's my version of happiness, whatever it looks like. How do you challenge yourself, or do you challenge yourself? What's your mindset around expansion?
Yeah. Well, it's a constant growth every day to move into it. It really is about moving into it. And I do have a practice that I do it's all along the lines of self-hypnosis. And I just will relax myself with my own pulse. So anyone could really do this. And if you take your hands and just put it on the pulse at your neck, you can just tune, your pulse, and you'll feel rhythm. See, that's your rhythm. It may be even, it may not even at this time. And so if you're doing this right now, you could sort of listen to your rhythm now. And if you can give it a word or its own sound, you can do that now. You can repeat that word and sound over and over again as your own mantra. And it's really the mantra of your heart. It's the mantra of you. It's your sound. And as you tune into this, you can allow your body to relax. It's so easy to relax just around your pulse, just around the own beating of your heart, feeling the energy around your body, knowing that all of that is you as well. And sensing it in any way that you can, either a knowing, an understanding, a seeing or visualizing it. Allow your body to expand. Feel and see yourself moving beyond the walls of the room you're in, beyond the building, into the space around the building, and as far as you can go. And all of that is you. All of the happiness, the joy, the inspiration, the love, compassion, the healing, and the gratitude. And you feel these things. You are grateful. You are loved. You are joy. And you are all of that happiness. And feeling all that you are in an expanded way, you bring it in now. Feeling you bring all the energy back to your physical form. Bringing it in, closer and closer. Feeling yourself back in your body, sitting on the chair. Feeling your feet on the floor. Feeling your breath. And then when you're ready, you just open your eyes. And that's it.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh, Gena. That's so cool.
I'm glad you like that.
Yes.
I'm glad you like that.
Oh my gosh. It's just like the heartbeat is life. Like getting connected to that. Like I can meditate and that's cool. And there's just something about feeling that pulse of life that has me know like there's current, there's energy, versus just, okay, I'm going to sit and meditate and breathe. Yeah, breathing's good, but there's something different about the heartbeat. It's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you like that. And it's really easy because I find people who have a hard time relaxing when they tune into their own heartbeat. It actually, it's a progressive relaxation. You're able to let your body go. So it's good.
Wow. So I'm curious about the energy of that because what happened is I closed my eyes and I expanded it around the building out further and further. And does that does that necessarily mean that I have more happiness? Does the expansion mean more happiness? And then when I bring it back, is that like higher amplitude, higher energy? I get to keep it for longer. Like, well, I'm curious what your take is on how that all works.
Well, I would ask you, what do you think and feel about that? Like, it really is up to you. It's your own imagination. Okay. So that's really using your imagination. So powerful, right? Yeah. It's giving your mind a tool and a picture and a process to be able to take in everything that you are, acknowledging it and bringing it in, channeling it in, and integrating it into your physical form. So wherever you felt you could go as far as you can go, right? That's where you are right now. Now, if you then see, because I'm just feeling you're so much fun. Like, you would definitely, the next time you're like, man, I'm going to go farther. I'm going to go out to the beach. You know?
Yep.
I'm going coast to coast, baby. Like, that's, definitely, and that's it, and so so you play, just play with that.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So we're beginning to wrap up now. Is there any other final points or takeaways that you wanted our audience to have to really receive from this interview, a new reality to step into after this? Just what else? This is so much fun.
Yeah,
I love this.
I'm so glad. No, just that, once again, that we are that magnets, and we create, like, we co-create with universal intelligence, and we have choice. Like, we really do have choice no matter what the circumstances look like. And if you want an ending, if you want that happy ending, right? Like the whole fairy tale, whatever it is, you can pick it, you can choose it. Just know that you need that heart-based intention to move forward, to take where you are now and walk into that future. It is that simple. And just to not overthink it, right? Am I doing it right and whatever? Just do it and try it. Play, get into that space of play. We learned everything in kindergarten that we really needed to know in life, right? That, right? And that's really just what it is. It is more simple than you think. Just try it and have fun, with the process. That's what we're here for, right? To have fun.
Yes, absolutely. So, Gena, is there anything that you wanted to share with our audience? Any next steps that they can take to stay connected with you? Any kind of downloads, opt-ins, or anything like that? Groups that you want them to join? Let us know.
Yes. Yeah. Great. Well, right now, I started the Magnetic Entrepreneurs Group on Facebook, and my URL right now, I was in the process of rebranding, and I'm working with a brand alchemist. She does beautiful work with websites. So she's in the process of that and my free training. So that will be available soon, and it will be at genapino.com. But right now, the URL directs to the Magnetic Entrepreneurs Facebook group. So I changed the privacy settings. So it's going to be open for the next week. Cool. So anyone can join. We're doing a Millionaire Mindset Challenge. So we're doing 17 days. I kicked it off today, actually.
Yes.
So we launched it today. And today was about responsibility. It was taking responsibility for your experience. So that's exactly what we were talking about today. But for the next 17 days, we're going to do that. And there'll be a video every day and an exercise from Secret to the Millionaire Mind. So you can participate with us and then just connect with me there. So that would be great.
Awesome. Gena, what do you got going on going into the year, into 2018? What else can we be excited about you producing, creating, having fun with?
Oh, yes. Well, hopefully, this summer will be a time for travel. But until then, I'm working on a personal coaching program. So that will be coming out the end of February, as well as just opportunities for people to have I guess you would call them like energetic business readings. No one really does those. And it really is an opportunity to kind of have time to check in with the energy, the parts of you that you can't see, because I can. and getting a clearer picture of what's going on to release those blocks and move forward. So I'm going to offer sessions for that. And I do right now offer sessions for that, as well as a half day and full day intensives to get your businesses reset and moving in the direction that you need to, integrating those 3 steps, the magnetic formula that I call it, with the vision, intention, and inspired action. How do those really, what do they look like in your business practices, and help you do that individually, because there's really no one size fits all.
Yep. Awesome. Gena, you're a superstar. Thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you for being love, sharing love, giving love and happiness, igniting the happiness spark within me, and everyone else who was listening got a full dose of being a magnet, and what that provides for us. And I really acknowledge you for who you're being in the world, inspiring us to step up and really receive the divine gifts that we've been given, and our birthright, our abilities as human beings. And it's just an amazing time to be alive. And thank you for being a pioneer and someone who's evolving the human species.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I'm so grateful to be here. This was so much fun. I really loved it. Thank you so much.
Me too. Awesome, Gena. You have the best day ever, and we will see you soon, okay?
Okay, bye.
Awesome. See ya.